Welcome back. This week, as college students are headed back to school, we're going to talk about education tax credits, education benefits within the tax code. So let's start off with the American Opportunity Credit. It's the largest credit available in a particular year, but there are limitations. So the maximum credit is $2,500, and a credit is a dollar-for-dollar reduction of your tax bill. The student has to have been enrolled at least half-time in a degree program, and this credit is only available for 4 tax years and is only available for the first 4 years of post-secondary education. It gets a little tricky when the school year, of course, starts in September. You only pay for maybe one semester or one quarter in that first year. So often you don't end up taking the American Opportunity Credit for the first calendar year that there was tuition paid, but the 4 following. That $2,500 credit is based on the cost of tuition and fees and books, but if there are at least $4,000 worth of tuition and fees and books, you'll max that $2,500 credit. There is an income limitation to this credit, and normally it is claimed on the parent's tax return, assuming the parent is still claiming the child. We've talked about dependency before and whether a child qualifies or not. We can get into that again in another video. The Lifetime Learning Credit, unlike the American Opportunity Credit where you had to be enrolled in a degree program and at least a half-time student, the Lifetime Learning Credit doesn't have those limitations. So if you just go back to community college to take a class, this qualifies for that. It has to be an eligible educational institution, generally one that accepts federal financial aid. The credit is for 20% of the tuition and fees and such. The maximum credit is $2,000 per person per year. There is an income limitation to this one as well. 529 plans are a popular way to pay for college. They allow you to take money, give it to the child in this education account. It grows over the years, tax deferred or tax free, depending on how the money comes back out, assuming that you're using the money for educational expenses. So again, tuition, fees, books, supplies, equipment, and room and board, the money comes out tax free. These 529 plans can also be used for K through 12 expenses as well. However, the biggest benefit to these plans is allowing the money to sit there and grow over years. And so if you contribute to the plan when a child is 4 and turn around and take it back out for kindergarten when they're 5, you really didn't get any tax benefit. So the benefit really is keeping the money in the account as long as possible. One thing to keep in mind is that just because you're using one benefit doesn't necessarily mean that you can't use another. So if you used a 529 plan to pay for, say, the tuition and the room and board and everything, it's possible that you could have used some non-529 plan funds for the tuition piece up to that first $4,000 of tuition and then use the 529 for the rest. And in that case, you may take that, assuming you otherwise are eligible, that American Opportunity Tax Credit for that first $4,000 of tuition, perhaps get that $2,500 credit, and then use the 529 benefit, the tax-free distributions for the rest. There's no double benefit, so you can't take the American Opportunity Credit on tuition dollars that you did pay with that tax-free 529 plan, but it's certainly something to consider. But always keep in mind those income limitations as well, so it's definitely something to coordinate with a tax pro. Once college is over and you are paying student loans, there is a deduction for the interest that you're paying on those student loans now that that's kicking back in here this fall. The maximum deduction is $2,500. It's not a credit, it's a deduction, so it's not dollar for dollar. And again, there's an income limitation. So most of these options for savings are really only available if your income is under the $100 and some odd $1,000 range. Each of these is a different window. Are there any specific questions that you have? I know I left out the income limitations. They do change every year, but I'm certainly happy to provide them. If you have questions, let me know, either in the comments below or go ahead and reach out. What should we tackle next? What's on the agenda for next week? Subscribe and find out. See you next week. Bye.